All right, I'm here with a good friend of mine, Mike Nie, who's the owner of Solid Body Fitness here in Fort Mitchell. And Mike and I just have a lot in common. From athletics, we met at NKU, played baseball there together, and then to addiction. Both of us in recovery. We're both business owners. And we've just been through kind of the same path with relationships and divorce and, bouncing back after this. It's kind of like a little comeback story. But so I knew Mike, we met at NKU, and then I didn't really touch base with you for years.
Yeah, not until, was it last year, randomly at a gas station. I think I was in a hurry and ran into Pat as fate would have it. I think I just got home from rehab about
I think it was like
2 weeks before.
Prior, a week or two.
Anyways, yeah, so we'll get into that. I just kind of threw that out there, but just ran into Pat, and he had said or mentioned that he kind of followed my story, which I've kind of broadcasted on social media. I am not shy to kind of expose my whole life, but Pat kind of told me what he'd been doing, what's helped him out, and then I kind of shared with what was working with me, and then we kind of just connected and stayed in contact, started hanging out. I think we had our best conversations golfing.
Yeah, for sure.
We did a Tough Mudder together. So I had my gym get together, and we all went up to Indiana for a Tough Mudder, and just kind of from there we just kept in contact, and just things are happening.
Like again, we kind of reconnected, and our stories are just eerily similar. So it was good to kind of touch base, and I love seeing what you're doing. It's good to have somebody to talk to that kind of understands what you've been through. So it's good. It's just been a good reconnection, and we're both business owners. I'm a realtor, and so I run my own business. And then you have Solid Body going.
Yep. Since the end of 2009, opened. It's in Fort Mitchell by now Camp Rosa. Everybody knows where that's at. But Dr. Cummings, I'm in the back of that dental office by Graham Grill. The business has just changed over the years, like everything. I think everybody's business changed a little bit with COVID. So I began changing mine a lot when that happened. I have a lot of online nutrition plans now is one of my main focuses. I've turned my gym into a 24/7 facility. I do personal training there, but my main passion now is kind of a lifestyle change, transformation. I start out with like a 90-day plan. Through that, what I learn is a lot about my client. So some people, they see these plans and they think it's just your basic fat loss plan, where really what I try to introduce people is a complete lifestyle change. I try to allow people to have everything that I offer, everything I've learned over the years in that plan, and that happens through communication. We mainly do a Zoom call or a meeting up front if they live in the area. There are some people that kind of live all over the United States, but we do a weekly check-in. There's a lot of accountability, communication, but my main thing that I try to is learn what this person needs. They may need to just focus on overall health. Some people want fat loss. Some people want to change their body through muscle gain. Some people just are out of options. They're fighting some other things like that lead to gut health. I'm finding a lot of people right now are having health issues that are all related to gut health. So that's my main focus right now is helping people address the inside before even focusing on the outside. So I've seen a lot of transformations and a lot of happy clients once we've addressed that gut issue. And I know we touched a little bit.
That would be leaky gut, right?
Yeah. So I think it's almost, I want to say, it's sort of a pandemic that's going on, or an epidemic going on in our country, is that our guts are just, it's just chaos. So you have the sugar, alcohol, caffeine, gluten, all these things are a brewing pot for essentially it's a yeast candida buildup. And I speak from experience. I was hospitalized in 2013 with this. You throw in antibiotics, which are rampant now. I feel like people are just taking those way too often. But what happens is your gut is essentially like a fermentation chamber. And when you have enough sugar, enough stress from life and physical stress, that gut's just going to go crazy. And basically, it's a candida yeast overgrowth that causes inflammation, attacks your joints. It's going to attack your immune system. And what I try to tell people, they'll fill out a health questionnaire, is when we address that, if we get that under control, weight loss, muscle gain, all those things come much easier. And it's almost impossible. It's almost as if you're wasting time if your goal is, let's say, weight loss, to try to follow anything until you address that. So that's my big thing. We do it with a basic nutrition plan. I try to not rely too much on supplements. Based on someone's health issues in that questionnaire will be how many supplements that I'll recommend. But once we get that addressed, you initially will see muscle recovery a lot quicker. You're going to see joint pains go down. You're going to see people that are more regular with bowel movements. You're going to get rid of irritable bowel syndrome, just basically discomfort in the stomach, bloating, things like that. And then a lot of times you'll find that people are coming off of different medications just when we address that. So kind of went off on a tangent there, but.
So we're health. I have you on here to talk about health because as part of the Homes for Heroes program, we talk about healthcare workers, right? And Mike, I know firsthand, he's helped so many people with their health to keep them from taking the pills from the doctor and keep them from getting surgeries. I did your 90-day transformation. I was on started working out, but kind of didn't know what I was doing necessarily, didn't have a plan. And I was actually underweight at the time.
Right.
Because I was trying to find a diet that made me feel good since being in recovery, and it did, but I had no weight. So I talked to Mike, and it was within, I don't know, probably a month, 6 weeks, I'd put on like 16 pounds. Energy was through the roof, sleeping better, and that was just because of you kind of holding my hand and sharing your knowledge, and there's a check-in, but there's also a nutrition plan.
Yeah, each person's different. When we initially spoke, Pat filled out a questionnaire, and your main focus was to add healthy weight.
Yes.
And there's a protocol. You need to do that slowly. So one thing that we did with Pat, I know you had done keto for how many years?
It was probably for 2.5 years at that point.
So if you're doing keto properly or by the book, it's 20 grams or less. So I didn't want to completely shock Pat's body and throw too many carbs, but we just slowly added carbohydrates so that they didn't stick on him as fat, and it was a lot easier on your adrenal system that way. But over time, we got into 200-300 carbohydrates a day, and you could immediately see Pat just in your face, his muscles filled out. In his check-in pictures, you can see he actually looked even more defined, even having weighed 10 to 15 more pounds. It's because your muscles filled out. It wasn't necessarily that his fat, it wasn't necessarily that the fat was added. But your pictures were crazy. We did one where it was just in one day. I think we added a substantial, you look like a completely different person in it was 12 hours.
Yep, that quick.
But his, Pat's plan was just weight gain. There are some people that I'm working with that have like thyroid issues. Hashimoto's is a big one. And a lot of that's diet. A lot of it's just this fast-paced, stressful world that we live in. It's just the body's under stress, not enough rest, malnourished, and all that is going to dramatically affect hormones. What's scary is I'm seeing it in younger teenagers now, and it's I think there are food sources are totally different. I don't think there's enough emphasis put on nutrition at a younger age. So really, with my plans, I'm trying to customize and make it an educational experience. And everybody is different. Everyone says right when they start one of these plans, like, hey, can I have everything? What's the plan? I want everything. And I'm trying to tell people is, you follow this week, and then I'm going to give you a little bit next week. And the plan is over 90 days. It's not, everyone's is different. Any nutritionist that tells you that, hey, this is the plan, go for it, I'll see you in 90 days, I would find a different nutritionist. So it's all about communication, adaptation, and making changes as you go.
Yeah, that's what was great was the weekly check-ins.
Right.
And send you some pictures and got some feedback there. But like I knew how to work out, right? I knew how to eat healthy, but you put me on a plan. So I was following a plan. I had a purpose. And I think that would greatly help me. I think it would help a lot of people. So you don't wake up and you're like, oh, what am I going to do today to work out? Like you have a plan to follow with and your expertise. Like I've learned so much and I will continue
I think
to carry on.
We were both athletes. I think having a regimen, having a protocol, having someone kind of telling you what to do.
Yep. Takes the guesswork out of it.
Yeah. I do this for a living, and I've paid 3 different coaches. It's kind of like I don't know. I know a lot of accountants that don't do their own taxes. So it's something. It's nice to be told what to do every once in a while. And like I said, everybody. I don't ever claim to be the expert. Every time I work with somebody, I learn something. Every month in this industry, I learn something. So I feel like I've changed as a coach drastically from 3 years ago. So I'll have clients reach out and say, hey, have you learned everything? Or I have some people that just reach out every year. That, hey, it's that time of year. I need your help.
Yep.
So I don't think I'd be doing myself a good service as not learning and continue my education as the years pass.
Yeah, because you're always finding out new stuff, and new stuff gets released, and it's the power of social media now. There's stuff that people are able to get out to the public that maybe wasn't so easy to get out to people before.
Yeah, social media is. I just had a conversation with somebody. It's good and bad. There's a happy medium with everything. It can be bad, and where just last night's a perfect example. I was trying to put all my effort into just watching a movie and I just kept catching myself wanting to grab my phone. Not even, I had no reason.
Yep.
And I think that's a dangerous area that we all live in, and I try my best to limit it, but I do find myself, like everybody, a little too involved with the social media and the phone. It leads to stress. But
for sure. Yeah. And I've discovered, I don't know what the number is, people say 90%, some people say 99% of our health and wellness is directly related to diet. Not as much inherited from your parents, genetic-wise, but our diet.
Yeah, there's different stats and there's different factors that can change that. I think that there's different numbers. 70 to 85% of your health is in your gut, so which would make sense. Address your gut before you're really addressing everything else. And I think now more time than ever, everybody should be caring about their immune system and their health. So what I would always recommend is focus on that first. The best thing to do is first eliminate the toxins, the garbage going in. Until you cut that off, you're really just putting a Band-Aid on major wounds. So I wouldn't even bother messing with the symptoms until you address that problem, which is your gut, and then everything else is going to follow after that.
If you could give somebody like 1 minute to start working on their gut today, what's like the quickest things they could do today to maybe start working on that?
So there's 5 big things that I have clients eliminate. That's caffeine would be the least of importance, but it is very important. But alcohol, sugar, gluten, dairy. I think dairy may ruffle feathers. Is just straight poison. And coffee. The reason I have people eliminate coffee is this is for just a short period of time. When you do this just for 10 days, it's great for the body. But when you are consuming coffee, if you have 1,000 milligrams of, let's say, vitamin C, drink a cup of coffee, now you only have 500. So the more coffee you're piling on, you're basically just depleting all the vitamins and minerals you have. So a lot of people are just walking around all day without any vitamins and minerals. So that alone, I am a coffee addict. I love my coffee. But if you can go periods throughout the year where you just give it up. So I start people on 5 to 10 days. If you can eliminate those 5 things, hydrate and fasting, those are all ways to begin healing your gut for sure.
Well, I did not know that about caffeine.
Yeah, and a lot of people, what I'll notice personally, and I'll get feedback, is the caffeine's the hardest thing to eliminate or to give up. But people, almost everybody says their joints feel better. Joints feel better, muscle recovery, so less muscle soreness. But I see every time the joints with the dairy and the caffeine. Big time.
So dairy and caffeine would help my joints.
Correct. All 5 very important.
Yes.
But and they're all different. I'll have some clients do half and half, so half decaf, half.
You said, well, how was decaf? Would that be okay to drink?
Yeah, there's the decaffeination. That whole process isn't particularly great for you, but some people are doing caffeine pills or green teas to start to kind of wean yourself off. And you'll notice you may get headaches at first.
Yeah.
I would first get the caffeine would be the last one. Gluten, dairy, alcohol, refined sugars. So pretty much anything in a wrapper or can, eliminate
all
for
the
10
stuff
days.
we like.
Yeah, everything that's good.
Everything that you really love.
But if you can do that for 5 days in a row, you have cellular regeneration. Your organs can literally start to regenerate themselves on a cellular level. Like you can begin to heal. I feel that you can really almost heal anything if you do this long enough in different protocols. Yeah, absolutely.
And you hit on fasting. So that was kind of the diet I settled on because it gave me the most energy and I was most productive throughout the day. But it was intermittent fasting. So I know, I think it's like after 16 hours of fasting, your cells start rejuvenating.
After 16 hours, they said that's when the magic happens. Different religions and cultures will do up to 48, 60 hours.
And they've been talking about for thousands of years.
It's been going on for thousands of years, where you got to be careful. And I tell people, especially American culture, is we're so used to sugar just in our vein or in our blood that you can't just go from eating the way the average American eats to fasting even 16 hours. You'll faint. So you just have to be careful. If someone's used to having food in their body every, let's say 2 hours, or they've never gone more than 8 hours, well then maybe go 9 hours and then 10 hours. Don't just jump right into an extreme fast. But when you start reaching the ability to do that, don't do strenuous activity when you're doing these fasts. It's pretty remarkable what can take place if you can build up to that. And if you work with me, I do a lot of different plans. We don't fast every day. You might do it for 2 or 3 days. You might do it for 2 weeks straight. You may not fast for 2 weeks at all. It just depends what your goals are. Really.
But would it be, I'm talking for me, would it be a healthy practice to maybe do a 24-hour fast once a month?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, again, depending on your diet, it's always good to give your gut a break. To give your body and your organs, your liver in particular, just a break to not have to process anything. If you chew a piece of gum, it's going through your liver. Mm-hmm. So really just black coffee and water are really the 2 things that you're just giving everything a break. So whenever your organs can have a rest like that and heal, it's a good thing. It just depends on your goals. If you're an athlete, so when I post something like hey, fasting's are really good for you, well then I'll get backlash on, well, my son's an athlete or I'm a very active person. You can't do this all the time. There's always, definitely different factors. If you're trying to add a substantial amount of muscle, sometimes fasting's not the key. It just depends. There's so many different factors. I know with
and body types and what your standard diet is.
You were so used to fasting and so used to your diet that we tried to stop the fast, give you more calories.
And it was tough. like eating that much throughout the day was hard for me.
Yes.
In the beginning.
And it's, for muscle gain, it was good. Maybe for your digestive system at first was a little bit of an overload. So there's always a
shock.
give and take
Yeah.
with it.
Yep.
Sometimes fat loss and muscle gain may not be the healthiest overall thing for your body. But if that's one of your goals, we'll get there and then we can address other things. Just because someone looks good doesn't mean they're healthy.
Yeah, it's 100%.
So you see somebody on a magazine cover, their body fat may be low or desirable, aesthetically pleasing, but it doesn't mean that they're particularly healthy. And you could be both, but it takes work.
Yep, and that's why it's a good thing to talk to somebody like you about this before somebody starts a big transformation or a lifestyle change. Talk to somebody in it, because you can't just read an article on Facebook, and that might not work for you.
No, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of misinformation,
out there.
And everyone's different. Like I've tried 3 different plans. They all kind of got me to a destination, just in different ways. I think every person that I've worked with is a little bit of an experiment. Like I tell some people, you have more enzymes to break down carbohydrates, so this person can have more carbohydrates than somebody that doesn't. It's my job to kind of, I'm kind of like the mechanic. I've got to figure out how your body works, and that takes time. So
Yep.
Somebody I've worked with 5 different times, I know their body now, and it's easier for me to implement the same things or try new things. But everyone's totally different with that. So.
And it depends on what kind of effort the person puts in, too.
Yeah.
It probably it takes a little while to figure out what they're going to do. You get to give them the best advice, but they got to do it. There's no magic pill.
For sure. That's something I've tried to almost push away, or it may appear that way online, where I'm saying, if you want to work with me, this takes work on your part as well. And I only can take on so many people, so I'm almost now to the point where I'm telling people, if you're not willing to do this, like I would prefer not to work with you, because it does take time. And the best results that I've had with clients are the people that are checking in every week. They're asking questions. They're almost being overwhelming in a part. And people say, "Hey, am I asking too many questions?" And sometimes when I say I want to say yeah, but those are the people that do the best. So that's really what it takes. So there's no magic pill. There's no magic protocol. There are some things that help losing fat or gaining weight or getting healthy that make things more effective. But it's just like everything in the world: consistency, commitment, and it takes time.
Yep.
So, but for sure. One thing that I'm been working on recently that's newer. I started it's a digital marketing agency. But it's focusing on health and wellness. I've kind of hit a point where I'm at, I'm only able to reach so many people. So my thought process was I can help other health and wellness, other gyms and nutritionists market and grow their businesses. So ultimately, we're just reaching and
You're kind of coaching the coaches now.
Exactly, and I'm taking some of that, what I'm learning there, and taking some of that revenue, and I'm going to put it back into my business in Fort Mitchell. It's a new skill. It's something that I've become really passionate with. Overwhelming, probably a little bit at times. I know we both talked about doing different things and wanting to kind of challenge ourselves, but that's been a totally different world for me.
Me as well.
3 or 4 hours a day on things that just aren't sticking. Sometimes having to go back through a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls and things. But it's exciting. I know you were talking about some different things. I mean, this whole the YouTube channel is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's able to, you're marketing yourself and you're helping out other people. But we both have shared that we wanted to try different things, for sure. But
yeah, it's kind of crazy with, so what happened for me 3 years ago with the whole stop drinking thing? It's honestly like a whole new life. Like there's things that I'm into and pushing myself more and trying to reach people to maybe It's like I'm fishing who I can help, and it really is. And you go through stuff. It's like, if I can help somebody else,
Right.
like maybe it was worth it, and it was worth it, but help some people with kind of what we've learned.
It's definitely a different world. I know when I got back, so I basically checked myself into a rehab. It's about a 30 or 40-day program. It's the greatest thing I ever did. It was difficult because I broadcasted it on all social media. I had basically left my business, didn't know what was going to happen with that. At the time, left my wife, family, and it was time that I worked on myself. It was the greatest thing I've ever done. No technology, completely cut off from the outside world, and it was amazing. I completely learned a lot about myself and others, and but coming back was not. It was different. I faced a lot of personal things that probably made it a little bit more difficult, but you definitely look at things completely different. I think I've gotten more done since April than I did in the past 5 years.
For sure.
You're hanging out with different people, doing different things, but just things are just more rewarding. I feel like I don't know, like you and I, like it's just, you just look at things like you realize how much time you wasted on certain things. Not that I feel judgmental now a little bit toward some people, but I don't know, and I'm still kind of finding myself with this whole process, but I know I keep myself busy. I'm definitely helping more people, helping myself more, but that can be overwhelming of itself when you make it public that you're doing certain things and people are seeing you succeed. You do have an influx of questions and people are asking you, how are you doing certain things? That's been a little overwhelming. I don't know if you've experienced that, where people are kind of asking what you're doing, how's that, or how are you doing?
Yeah, yes, a lot of people do, and some people ask too much, like, how are you? I was like, I was good till you asked me, but thanks for asking, Yeah. Just kind of let me be, I'm all right for the minute. But yeah, it's tough and people care about you. But something that I had happen recently to me was, so I quit drinking January 28th, 2020. Then it's been an adventure since then, right? And you were pretty open about it. I was more private about it. Like, people around me knew, but I hadn't really, this will probably be my first public post to social media or any platform like that. But once I started telling my story a little bit, it was cool because people can connect to it. And I've taken a couple people now to like their first AA meeting.
That's awesome.
And so that is really cool. Told a story, and then it was like a month later, this person reached out to me and was like, hey, that kind of, like, I see how you just look like full of life now. I saw what you looked like before, and I see what you look like now. And it's kind of like, what are you doing? So they reached out about a month later and was like, hey, can we talk? And I was like, well, the first step for you is to go to an AA meeting. So I took them to their first AA meeting, and it was funny. It was like the family just came together in there with these people and started taking care of them. And that was, I don't know, maybe 60 days ago. Mm-hmm. So I don't hear much now, but they'll check in with me every once in a while. Oh, and so that is one of those times when it was worth all the shit to go through. Because it was not fun, and I don't want to do it again. I'm never going to have to do that again. That's a fact. I don't know if I could, but I won't, so I don't have to worry about it. So that's good. But that was one of the things where it really felt good to be able to help somebody a little bit. And it's tough because it's like we know how we feel now about things, but you can't go preaching at people. You can't tell anybody anything. You just got to be ready for the people, just kind of do your thing. And if somebody comes asking questions, help them out where we can.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many phone calls or lunches I've gone to. And I think what you said is you just need to be an ear for a lot of people. It's a weird way. It's kind of like someone's coming out of a closet of, this is what I'm dealing with. It's a scary ass situation, and it's a delicate situation, and the last thing you want to do is be very judgmental or tell them what to do. I think
because I didn't listen to anybody for years, and I know you didn't either.
No,
so what makes us think somebody else is going to listen about anything?
We were more than wild men, but yeah, I think that's the important thing is just being there for somebody, listening, and then if they ask, what are you doing? Like, how are you handling things? What are you doing? I know with me, they gave me sort of an outline of things to do, some of which I utilize, and a lot of which I kind of design my own thing. I talk to a lot of people all day. That helps me, and it just so happens that a lot of people that I work with have gone through, so that in itself was sort of therapeutic for me. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people reach out to me, and it's important, I guess, not to be overwhelmed or totally consumed by that, because that can happen very, very easily. But no, it's very rewarding. It's amazing to. I actually spoke with one of the owners of the facility I went to today. We talked for 30 minutes, and it was awesome. I plan on going down to visit and speaking. I've become friends with a lot of people
really
I went
cool.
through the treatment center. We're all together in different chat rooms, and that's just I don't know how to describe that.
Yeah.
And most people will never understand that. I just got a friend of mine's friend in the program. I think they actually got down there yesterday. And
they went to the same place you went to?
Same place. I'll get this phone call a lot. I will connect them with somebody down there, and I'll kind of be the mediator, and then I'll let them go do their own thing. And then when they return, I'll kind of sit down and talk with them and say, hey, this is what's worked with me. That is, it's so rewarding because I know what they're going to go do. Yeah. I know how they feel when they get back. And I think that's the thing that there's the misconception with this whole thing is the person with the addiction, 9 times out of 10 doesn't know what they're putting their friends and family through. And they have no idea how this person feels. And then while they're going through something, that's the other thing that neither person realizes. Like someone going through it's like, you have no idea what I'm going through this, but they also need to realize like you have no idea what we're going through while you're going through that. And I think that's what's cool is you learn about that, or you should at least try.
Yeah.
To learn, and that's been something that's helped me. Anyways.
Yeah, absolutely, and I get it. So I just went to Sun Behavioral Health right here in town. You see it right there in 275. But it was like a three-day treatment thing. And it was crazy, but I was a guy when I'm checking in, they're like, you're going to have to do AA. And I'm like, I'm not doing AA. I'm going to go hang out here for 3 days, and I'm out. I'm going back to work, and life's going to be great, I'm thinking, right? Well, that's not how it worked. But in there, they got me to go to an AA meeting. And I can't remember the man's name that spoke, but he had been sober for years. And he talked, and I'm like, this guy sounds like me. But he looks good, and he's successful, and he's talking like... So he told his story, and then it kind of goes around. And again, I wasn't doing this. I didn't need AA. I didn't need anybody. I was just going to, grab my bootstraps, and we're going to do this. But I never would have made it. I know, because it came to me. I stood up in my first AA meeting and said, I'm Patrick, and I'm an alcoholic. And when I did that, it felt like a gazillion pounds came off of my back. My brain immediately started working a little better. It felt like every cell in my body started working better, and that pressure was off. And without that moment, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah, I think that's common. I think that's a pivotal moment is having, no pun intended, having
pivotal moment at pivot.
Having somebody hear themselves say that, a lot of people, when they go in and experience that, they're like, wow, like this is real. So I think that's a huge thing. But it's also important to know like that's not for everybody. Maybe there are ways that you can communicate. I didn't continue to go to those after I got out again, just talking. Like if we weren't in here, just you and I talking, or going golfing, or working out together, or wherever, just talking about it is therapeutic. It helps a lot.
1,000,000%.
I think that's becoming more mainstream now. People open to
just being open about
talking about that, for sure.
Yep, absolutely. And that's what, like you said, it's not for everybody. People do what, whatever works for you and makes you happy, do your thing. But so I quit in January 2020, and then COVID hit. But up until that point, I would go to like 6 or 7 AA meetings a day. I would drive back and forth all the way around northern Kentucky and Cincinnati.
It's sort of a shitty time to stop drinking.
Well, yeah, because they shut down all the meetings, and
it's the best time to drink.
Yeah. So they had shut down all the meetings, and then I was without. And I met some friends, but just having somebody to talk to, because you didn't have to hide anything, and you didn't have to explain anything. Like, people just get it.
Right.
Like, just to be able to find that little sense of community with people like us.
Right. That is the big thing, is having, like, everyone has their group of friends where they're like, man, are you hungover, or this, like, you kind of share alcohol related feelings. But when you somebody's feeling like the really screwed up shit that you're going through, and you hear them say that and you relate, that's like you listen to that person differently. You can relate. Mm-hmm. And it's cool to have that person in your life, or to kind of help each other out. That was just hearing some of the crazy stories I did. You're like, holy shit, I'm not the only psycho out there that thinks that. And there's a lot of people that just haven't addressed it yet. There's all different forms of it, but I know I needed it. I've been a wild man we were
since the NKU days.
Wow, God, probably even before then. I think I've had like 20 lives. So it was time. I had my share to stop for sure.
For sure. And there's something. So when I went into some behavioral, like, they guessed my age. They said there's something that happens to men when they're 40 or in their 40s. Yeah. And so I was 40.
Yeah, and I think
you were close to that, right?
Yeah, 39.
So not a whole lot had changed, but it was like I was at the end of my rope, right? But it's just cool that I don't know, we're kind of all the same. We're all different and unique, but we have a lot of the same issues. And if we can come together and talk about stuff, we can fix some stuff.
COVID helped push somebody over the edge, a lot of people over the edge.
Yes.
That didn't help my drinking at all. I think a lot of it, it made things worse. That was hard for everybody. I don't know the numbers on that, but that was something we talked about, is that the numbers probably weren't even correct at how much of the population has developed some sort of
anxiety, depression, habit issues of all kinds, whether it's social media or eating or
escalated 2020, 2021 for sure. But no, I'm grateful now looking back at it. I mean, that 2022 sucked in a lot of ways, a lot of personal struggles, but it's made me closer with family. It's really helped me begin different ventures. This new business venture I'm so excited about. Spend a lot of time with it, almost become a little bit of a hermit. But just, I can't wait to see where this takes me.
Buckling down, making it happen.
For sure.
I mean, that's something that wouldn't have happened before, right?
Yeah, I know. No, it would not. That was the thing, is you get, when things are going good and you're drinking and everything, but the second something bad would happen, whether it's a relationship or a death of a family or friend or something, and you're still drinking a lot, you can make things so much worse, so much quicker. And it's like everything you just made progress with is just gone. And it's just like a vicious cycle. And you can't make any progress that way.
Very vicious. Like you said, it'd be good for a week and then something happened, or maybe you'd give 6 months of a good stretch. And then one night you're back to square one, or before that, even back before that.
For sure.
So definitely different. I like it. It's like a new lease on life. And the things I'm wanting to do with my business now, I was kind of just okay being a realtor and selling a few houses every year and flexible schedule. But now, and with the help of the Homes for Heroes program, I'm ready to take my business to the next level. I'm thinking bigger things. Like, I'm going to have one of the biggest teams in the tri-state. I didn't even have the capacity to think that before. But now, my goals are so much higher. And it's fun. I enjoy the process way more than I did before. like before I couldn't wait to get done at 5 o'clock, and then I'd go live my life, right? And have fun, meet buddies at the bar, or go here and drink. But now I enjoy the process of building something. So much more fun and enjoyable.
Yeah, I think that's, I think the reason people begin to flourish in other aspects of their life when they stop drinking, and this isn't like just a preach don't drink. Like I have friends and family that still drink, and that's fine. And
no, absolutely. But we were different level. We had to do some stuff. We wouldn't. Stop. I probably wouldn't be here right now if I had not.
I think it puts you in a different mindset, and I think every successful person will tell you that the difference between successful business owners or just people in general, however you want to define success, is their mindset. Like really, truly changing your mindset. Like every person that I've followed or studied or read about just has a total different mindset. And that's something with my transformation plan that I'll try to get people to listen to podcasts or read certain books. Like you have to get in the mindset and see yourself doing something. Like if you're right from the get-go, you're going to plan this, I'm going to change my diet and everything in 90 days. If the first thing you're thinking of is shit, in 3 weeks I got this wedding, I'm going to fall off, I know I'm going to, well, what the hell, like don't even, you got to get out of that mindset.
Yep.
And that's with anything, business venture, planning a family, like if you just think it's something's doomed from the get-go, chances are it will be. So that's something it's easier to be in a good mindset when your mind's more clear, but yeah, life still can suck a lot.
100%. Life still happens.
It's easier to deal with stress and things when you're...
Yep. And it's funny though, once you get your mind in the right mindset, you start, the little things just go a little better for you. It's kind of like the harder you work, the luckier you get, right?
Yes.
But there's so many things within my life now that it's like, okay, I see how this is going. And it's directly related to mindset.
I think the rules of attraction is a real thing in it. Some people think it's hokey, but I don't know, in all my experience and people I've talked to, it seems that if you're in that mode, you're going to attract positive things. So things are gonna happen that don't make sense. You're like, man, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. Why is this happening? I mean, there's a reason for it, and it's better to have a positive outlook.
Yeah.
Even though that can be annoying, it can
be, because I get annoyed with myself a little bit. But I do know one of the biggest, if you take full responsibility for everything in your life, no matter what it is, you take 1,000,000% responsibility for it, don't blame anyone for anything, you can get through it because you can make the change to do it. Like, yes, does bad stuff still happen to me? Absolutely. Will it happen tomorrow, next year? Yeah, but my reaction to it, I can control.
No, absolutely. That's something I think you get better at as you get older, taking responsibility. Like I just ended like a week ago, I think it was a week ago, finalized a divorce. And there's so many parts of me in the beginning of this that I was just pissed off, aggravated, wanted to blame, and I was just at fault for a lot of things as well. And I think just as you get older, you learn to take responsibility for things, and I was at fault just as much as she was. So I think that also it's just healthier to just take fault for, it's easy anything, why certain things didn't go a certain way. I think we're just in a society where it's like, oh, it's their fault. I deal with that constantly with nutrition and workout plans. I just call them excuses. Just own up to it. Like if you just own up to things, and I'll do that as a coach. Hey, maybe I didn't communicate things right. Just own up to it. Things will just move more smoothly for sure. And people will appreciate if you're just honest and own up to things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I've definitely learned in the past few years, just being honest with yourself and upfront for sure.
And definitely, I've heard this actually pretty recently, but like when you're in the midst of addiction, like your brain, which controls you, is the most selfish being on the planet. because you're triggered for one thing, and that is to give your brain what it wants, and it'll find a way to get it. And if you're have an addiction, you're going to get it. It doesn't matter kind of who gets hurt in the process.
And you have to be selfish to recover.
Yes.
I think that was something I learned that some people don't get is you have to be selfish with your time, with the people you surround yourself with. Some people might say, oh, well, he's just too good for us now, or why can't you just hang out here? Why can't you do this? And you have to be selfish with your surroundings so that you don't, like, you need to master that before you take chances and do certain things. And if people are really your friends, they'll appreciate that and they'll understand that.
1,000,000%.
If not, I mean, just move along.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I think back now, like, what happened for me, it was the best because it was January, then COVID hit, so nobody was going anywhere for a year, right? So I didn't have to be out and about and doing things. It was easy for me to be home by myself because everybody was home by themselves, and that was great. And then stuff got back to normal, whatever it was.
So you
12
stopped January
2020, January 28th.
So it was right before COVID.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would think that's pretty challenging.
Yeah, it was rough. I learned a lot throughout that year, just we can go a whole different avenue, but political stuff and all that 12 months was wild, I can tell you that.
I learned how to put shit together drunk.
That's the way to do it.
All the at-home projects were done ass backwards.
But yeah, so then after that, things open up, and you're back out in different situations, where it's like, I went and played golf again. My dad took me to play golf, and it was not good. But yeah, getting exposed, it's like reintroducing yourself back into society. And it's stuff is a little different, but it's cool.
And it's weird, but it's not. I think it's more in our own head. Like
Yes, it is.
Like you think things are more different than they really are. I don't know. Yeah, it's true. It seems like it's a bigger deal than it really should be. We're just all so in our heads. But yeah, golf was fun. That was one of the first things that I did, going out on a golf outing, and it was fun. Better at golf.
Much better.
But
the bag's a lot lighter too.
But yeah, definitely some social aspect has changed for the better. But there's some things. I think you go out and find what you actually like. That's something. I'm like, I don't even know what I really. I mean, there's certain things I know. Like I love health and fitness, but that's kind of my job. I'm like, what the hell do I really like? Love the Bengals. That was something I could do. I've gone to all tailgates, all over, all the teams, completely sober. I was fine. Like I love that, but I'm still trying to find things that I like love to do. I've really gotten into hiking. I want to get more into snowboarding, other areas, but that's something that you figure out real quick is what you like.
Well, next year,
what
Denver.
You don't like. Denver? All right. Let's do it.
Go hit it up. So kind of getting back to that, but we hit on this earlier before. If you could go back and talk to yourself day one, before you went to Florida to the treatment center, what would you tell yourself?
As far as...
Like stuff you know now that you didn't know then.
I mean, mindset is, like I touched on before, is huge. And like when you're drinking, you think you're communicating, right? But you're just not. I realized like I just hit, my relationship was sort of fucked up with my family and everything. Like you're
in your own world.
Yeah, like you think you're communicating, but you're really not. So I before that is the mindset, the communicating. You really don't understand how good you feel till you eliminate that, and how much time. Like I think that would be something if I really knew, like, man, how much you're gonna get accomplished. Like that, I can't wrap my mind around how much I've done. Like I've almost started 2 new businesses since coming back.
And how long's it been?
I mean, April, second week of May, I came back. Tried to get back in.
So 10 months, call it.
Exactly. So That's pretty amazing what you can, you just start being able to do. I mean, just the little things like over the weekends and then your recovery days where you're just not doing shit. You're just feeling sorry for yourself and you're nursing your wounds. I can't believe how much you just get done when you're not feeling. And like, I know you said you have kids, like they see that. So I'm sure the family notices. I mean, you mentioned that.
Big time. It's all about my boys. Everything has been. But at first, it was, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 months in from being sober. It was hard, right? It was like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't know, but it was just hard. But my boys had to wake me up in the morning. I didn't want to get up, I was bad in the mornings during that time. But once I was about 6 months sober, my little one, Ty, came down the stairs. I was sitting at the kitchen table. I think I was doing some work at like 6:30 in the morning. Like, I didn't see 6:30 in the morning unless I stayed up all night. That was when I saw 6:30 in the morning. But he came down the stairs and he made the corner and he saw me. And it was kind of like he wasn't used to seeing me awake yet. And he got this smile on his face. So he just came down and just saw me and smiled, was happy to see his dad. And that was like that. Every hard day was worth it, And then that kept me going for another 12 months. And then just little things like that you don't appreciate. It's like just seeing a little twinkle in his eye because I was sitting at the kitchen table. That was worth it.
That's cool. That's what a lot of people. I mean, I don't have kids, but a lot of people said that's a driving factor that helps them is just seeing visually seeing family members or friends, how proud they are. That's a cool thing, and just hearing people say that to you is awesome.
It's great for your parents not to have to worry about you, right? I think you're like me, real close with our parents is another thing we have in common, good families. But just knowing they're not worried when they go to bed at night is pretty good.
100%.
All right, Mike. Well, I really appreciate you coming in. We talked about a lot of health-related issues, where people can go. And I can vouch for you because I did your 90-day transformation. Guys, it's worth it. If you need just a little nudge, you're ready to do something different with your life, whether it's lifestyle or get in shape, lose weight, gain some weight, figure out what to eat to get yourself healthy. I mean, I highly recommend Mike, guys. I know firsthand that he did the trick.
Yeah, I'm pretty active on Instagram and Facebook. It's just Solid Body Personal Training. It's located in Fort Mitchell. But if you can get on those sites or just send a message on there. Again, it's Solid Body Personal Training. The best way is just get on the email that's on there. It's NIEM0808@gmail.com. Just shoot me an email. The way it kind of begins, we just send you a health questionnaire, fill that out, and we kind of go from there. Based on those answers and the more details you give, the better I can help you, is where we start. It can go all different directions. There's some people I've worked with that have gone over 300 days. We just kept going along. So life happens, different things happen with your health, and we just make changes. So, but yeah, it's good to be on.
Yep. Well, Mike, it was great catching up with you. I'm glad we kind of rekindled our friendship here,
absolutely.
and it's good to have you around, my man.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right.